Hi everyone, John Chamley here, Guitar Lessons US, and this time we're going to take a look at playing simple chords. If you go to the website Guitar Lessons US, what you'll find if you click on the free lessons, you find some printouts, and I'd like you to get the simple 4-string chords that you see on the screen right there. What we're going to do in this exercise is play the first of the exercises, example 1, which uses a G chord, a G7, E minor, and a G7 and a G again. And these chords are the simplest of the chords because they only require one finger to be put on the fretboard at one time. So it's the G chord, you see the G there, you see the E minor and the G7 there. There's one more chord that's shown there with G major 7, which is we're not going to use in this exercise. Okay, so let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first of all the right hand, and then I'll show you the left hand. So let's take a look at the right hand. The right hand, there are a couple of different ways you can do this depending on what style of playing you're going to be doing, and those are play with either fingers or play with a pick. I'm going to show you both. Now for the fingers, what you have here is an exercise using 4 strings. So the 4 strings, you would use one finger for each of the 4 strings. The thumb would play on the 4th string, the index finger there would play on the 3rd string, and the middle finger would play the 2nd string, and the ring finger would play the 1st string. And what this exercise, the way I like to do this exercise is using arpeggios. Now an arpeggio is basically a chord played as separate notes. Now the chords, if I were to play like this, I'm going to play the chord, everything all together. What I'm doing is I'm playing all 4 strings together. I don't want you to do that because, especially when you start out, you want to be able to play each individual string so that you can tell if there are any problems. And we'll take a look at that when we take a look at the left hand. But here's the pattern. The pattern goes like this. You're going to play from the thumb, index, middle, ring finger, middle, index. That will be the pattern. So it's actually 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now before we get to that, what I usually do with my students is we play something more simple, going only one direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeating that pattern. So you can practice that first just to get used to using your fingers. Now you notice my hand is, I'm holding the hand just like if I were holding a ball, something like that. Really what you want to try and do is have the most relaxed position you can get. So now if we play this pattern of notes, I'm pressing with my thumb and pushing the string in, and as it leaves the string, as it wraps over the string, then it will play the note. So that's the thumb. The next 3 fingers, we're going to play what's called a free stroke. A free stroke means that when you play the note, you're not touching any other string. It's free to move. Now what you try to do is keep the hand as still as possible and let your fingers do the playing. Okay, so thumb, index finger, and the next one, the middle finger, and then the ring finger. Now the pattern that we're doing is we're playing 6 notes, which would be those 4 notes, followed by, on the return, you play the middle finger and then the index finger. Now you really want to get those fingers moving nice and smooth and at a nice steady pace. What's good to do is practice this with a metronome, and I'm just going to turn on a metronome and play at a speed of 45 just to show you what's a good way to get started with this. Okay, this is 45 beats per minute. Okay, and it goes like this. And you keep repeating that same pattern. get the timing as good as possible. Now you can probably do much better than that with the timing than I just did, but you know, do your very best and try and hit those notes right on the click. Okay, so that's the way of playing it with the fingers. If you're using a pick, I'm going to use a large pick just so that you can see it, just for the camera. Usually I like to use a smaller pick which doesn't stick out so much, but for this benefit of this video, I'm going to use a large pick. And what I'd like to try and do is to use alternate picking. Now, alternate picking means that when you play, we're going to play, this time we're going to play all the notes using the pick in two directions. And as you play with the pick, what you want to do is, again, use the pick to ramp over the string, so you kind of slide it along the edge. Right, and that would be a downstroke. Now, coming back, the upstroke would be similar. I don't know if you can see this exactly. I'm bringing this up like that, along the edge. So it was a downstroke, and then an upstroke, and then a downstroke, and then an upstroke. Now, if you do this right, then as you go down with this one, you position it so that you're ready for the next one, and then down with the next one, and then up with the next one. So again, this takes a certain amount of practice just to be able to do this. Now you notice my fingers, this finger's touching the fingerboard, so that can help stabilize your fingers as you move over, you know, playing the notes. Okay, now that's of course, if you had a teacher, you know, of course having personal lessons is the best way to help you to do that. But in lieu of that, you know, just try your best. And the same thing as we did before, you do this with a metronome, starting off slow. Now I did 45. You can do it even slower. That's no problem at all. The most important thing is being able to become comfortable playing that pattern. Now, once we've got that pattern on the right hand, we're going to take a look now at the left hand. Now, the left hand, this is a simple chord exercise, and we're using 4-string chords. If we just go back to the chords again, you see that the first chord is a G, followed by a G7, which is over here, followed by an E minor, which is over here, followed by a G7, and followed by a G. Okay, so let's take a look at how we're going to play those. Okay, now, as I mentioned before in another video, what you want to try and do is use one finger for each fret. So if you play on the first fret, you play with the first finger. Second fret, play the second finger. Third, you play with the third. Now that G chord requires you to press down on the third fret on the first string. Okay, so let's see how we're going to place the third finger on the third fret. Now you notice if I turn this around like this, my finger is pretty much vertical, coming down onto the fretboard. Now, you want to be close to the fret, and try to make sure that your finger is curled, and you use that first joint to curl the finger. It shouldn't be like this or like that. Try to have a nice curl on the finger. And if you notice also, the thumb is around the back. Now, if we switch to show you all three views here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fingers and play this, holding this third finger down, and we're going to play this pattern. So it's going to go like this. So that's the first chord. The next chord requires that we're going to place the first finger on the first fret. So we're switching from that one to this one. Now, when you're changing chords, one of the most difficult things to do is to be able to change it smoothly. And while you're playing, you want to have those strings ringing, which means that you want to have that finger held down as long as possible, and then switch to this finger to play the G7 chord. Now the next chord is going to be an E minor chord, so that means that while we're holding this one down, this finger should go over under the 4th string to play that note. Now, the difficult thing with this one is this finger has got to press down on the 4th string without touching this string. A lot of times, beginners are going to get this problem with, I'm going to play the 3rd string, and you find that this finger is getting in the way. So it might take a little bit of, maneuvering to get that finger in the right position. Again, you want to play on the fingertip and have it come down fairly vertical on top of the fretboard. Now we're going from the E minor back to a G7, which means that you got to get this first finger again back over under the 1st fret. And then back again to the 3rd fret. So that's the exercise. Okay? Good luck with that, and we'll see you in the next video.